All right, great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pcloudy's webinar on Unlock OCR testing, biometric authentication, and media testing with Pcloudy. My name is Dinakar, and I'll be the host for today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. You would have noticed that your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar using the Q&A option available below. We will answer your questions as part of the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and we will send out the link of the recording later. With that said, let me introduce the speaker for today, Jessica Selvin. Jessica is a pre-sales specialist at Pcloudy. She has around 3+ years of experience in the IT industry. And prior to her role at Pcloudy, she has worked with LTI Mindtree as a pre-sales consultant in automation solutions design. And she's done this for various industries while her stint at LTI. She also has a keen interest in data analytics and various automation tools. Without further ado, let me hand it to our speaker for today, Jessica Selvin. Over to you.
Thanks a lot for that introduction, Dinakar. And so let's get started. So hello, everyone, and good evening. The topics for today that we're going to be primarily covering is OCR testing, biometric authentication, and media testing, and how that plays into your application testing, your day-to-day application testing, and how Pcloudy, our platform, enables you to do testing for all these, right? So with that, let me just run through the agenda. Yeah, so firstly, we will look into OCR, what it is, what are some real world applications and use cases that we see in terms of OCR, and then followed by biometric authentication, real world use cases that we see for that, as well as media injection in application testing and some real world applications. Then we will move into a live demo, and then further we can take up the questions and clarifications that you might have. So with that, let me delve into the OCR. Yeah. So what is OCR, right? Basically, the basic definition or the full form you can say is optical character recognition. And what this means is it's a technology that converts different types of documents. So be it your hard copy, scanned paper documents, PDFs, or images that are captured by your camera. So all these into digital text or editable and searchable data. So the primary aim of OCR is to digitize your printed text so that they can be electronically edited and searched, digitally stored, speech software, and so on. So some of the key applications and roles that we see OCR playing in is historically, we've seen how it has helped massively in the data entry field, where OCR facilitates automatic data entry from printed paper documents and reducing the need for manual data input, so saving lots of time and improving accuracy and so on. And secondly, we see it being used in translation and language assistance. So OCR technology can convert any image into text, which can further be processed with translation software into different languages. On those same lines, even in terms of accessibility, right? So making your application or your content accessible to visually impaired users. OCR can ensure that once it's converted to text, it can be read aloud by screen readers. Increasingly, we are also seeing it being used as a form of identity verification. So by extracting information from your your identity documents, right? OCR helps in verifying user identities. So mainly we see this being used in the banking as well as the travel industries. And overall digitalization, OCR moving your documents that are stored maybe manually in or historical records into digital formats that save storage, makes them easily searchable, accessible, and so on. And also, furthermore, even in augmented reality, where OCR can be used to read and interpret text in real world environments, that enhances the quality of the AR or augmented reality experiences, right? And all these we see in terms of the benefits that we see that comes out of OCR is, one is improved accuracy. It minimizes human errors, right? And then secondly, faster image and document processing, right? So it's much faster. It saves on a lot of time, cuts down on the resources that are required to process that data and cutting down costs. And all this enables you to have efficient workflows, be it whichever industry, healthcare, manufacturing, banking sector, and so on. So now we will look into some real world examples of. Right, sorry. But before that, let's just have a quick poll on how you might be using OCR on a day-to-day basis, and what are the kinds of activities that you might do, be it in your work or your personal life, where OCR comes into picture for you. So let me just read out the question. I hope the poll is visible for all of you. So I have used the OCR feature to option 1, extract text from an image, convert image to PDF, copy text on camera, and digitize handwritten notes. So maybe I'll just give it 15 to 20 seconds for you to answer this question. Right, so I can see some answers coming in. A lot of people using the second option, converting image to PDFs. This often comes in handy, right? And also extracting text from images. So these two are what I can see mostly folks are using. So yeah, this is interesting to know, right? And also this helps us to be aware that even though we may not be aware of the terminology of OCR, we are practically using this on a day-to-day basis, and not just on an individual level, but we can also be aware that enterprises and several business requirements where OCR comes into play. So with that, maybe we can just go into the next slide, and I'll talk about the real world applications that we see in terms of OCR. So one is bank check scanning, right? So here, this is something where we saw one of our clients, which is US based in the banking sector, had this requirement. So basically having the requirement to read or automatically read and process printed text on checks. So this involves extracting the significant data from the checks, like the check number, the account number, the date, and so on, right? So one of our clients had this requirement, and OCR was a key player in ensuring that this process happens seamlessly. Secondly, we also see the application in terms of manufacturing and supply chain inventory management. OCR being able an OCR scanner that reads labels and orders on products, and as they move through the warehouse, it will be able to update the inventory levels and statuses in the supply chain management system. So this really helps in having a real-time tracking and monitoring of your inventory, your purchase orders, and streamlining your inventory management. So we see an application there. Also, thirdly, on the ID verification, I touched upon this before. Basically, OCR technology really comes in handy in travel industries, where OCR technology can be used to speed up the check-in processes, where your ID cards are verified. You might have experienced this as you traveled or boarded a flight, right? You might have experienced this. So this improves the security for one. It speeds up the process and also brings in convenience. So we also implemented this for one of our Middle Eastern clients. It was a banking client where their form of verification was through scanning the ID and verifying the credentials of the user, right? So it had an ID card upload where that was one of the steps in their application for verification, and it came into play. OCR came into play for their application. Also, we see it implemented in healthcare. So a lot of the time, certain medical prescriptions, medical forms, all these can be uploaded and converted into digital text into the patient's electronic health record or EHRs. And finally, overall, in terms of any industry that wants to digitize, that has a lot of documents that are stored manually, to convert that and make them into digital formats, saving space, improving accessibility, and being able to edit and search and so on, right? So these are some of the real world applications where we see OCR coming into play. So with that summary on OCR, let us just move into biometric authentication. So this is something that we might be using, again, on a very day-to-day basis to access our devices, unlock our devices, unlock an application, and so on. And so just to give a quick definition about what it is, this technology involves the verification of identity using our unique biological traits. So the most common forms that we might be familiar with is fingerprint scanning, facial recognition. Also, some others include iris scanning and voice recognition and so on. But the main, the kind of biometric authentication that we come mostly day to day is in terms of touch and face recognition, right? And so this provides a high level of security for one, and it also brings about an ease of use, ease of access, because there's no longer the requirement to remember passwords or user IDs and so on. Prevention of fraud. So impersonation becomes harder because this is based on your unique biological trait. It can also be a form of an added layer of security over and above your passwords and pins and so on, and ensuring overall compliance in terms of the industry security standards. So yeah, just to summarize where it comes into play, right? Be it in mainly we see biometric authentication coming into play in the banking sector, where many banking applications have this as a prerequisite to enter into the application to verify your identity through biometric authentication. It helps in prevention of impersonation and fraud, and becoming an added layer of security. So with that summary on biometric authentication, let me just move on to the final feature that we'll be talking about, which is media injection. So what is media testing in application, right? So it refers to the process where we evaluate how an application handles various media elements. So be it images, audio, video, right? A lot of modern applications now involve the use of opening up your camera and scanning a QR code, for example, or a barcode, uploading an image, and so on, right? So ensuring that your application is able to handle these kinds of different multimedia content, right? So this becomes a critical part of ensuring that there is good user experience, there is seamless user experience. So testing this component of your application is critical. Ensuring compatibility, that your application is compatible with all the popular formats in terms of be it image formats, be it PNG, JPG, JPEG, and so on, right? So ensuring there's compatibility and overall quality assurance, ensuring that the entire workflow is smooth and there are no bottlenecks in your workflow, right? So media testing comes into critical play there. Now, again, let's just take a quick poll to see where media comes into play in our day-to-day lives. I hope the question is visible to you. So yeah, I majorly receive or send media files to option 1, colleagues, option 2, family and friends, 3, myself, and 4, none of the above. So yeah, maybe I'll just give 10 to 15 seconds to answer this. So yeah, I see a lot. Surprisingly, a lot of them are to themselves. Yeah, I mean, it really comes in handy to have something in reference. So yeah, I'm sure this is something that we all do. And secondly, a lot to colleagues. Yes, I mean, in terms of be it via emails or Teams or whatever collaboration tools we're using, I think these are the top 2 that I'm seeing that are coming in. Okay, so with that, let me just go into some of the real world examples that we see in terms of media testing. So one of the critical places where media injection comes into play is scanning of QR codes. So we see in many payment applications, or accessing a particular URL, for example, accessing a menu in a restaurant. Nowadays, you see a QR code placed and we need to scan that to access their application or their menu, right? So these are some of the key places where we need to open up our cameras and process a particular image or capture an image, right? Or even in terms of creating a profile picture for any account that you're creating on the application, uploading a selfie and your profile picture and so on. So having media comes into play in almost any of your workflows or actions that you're doing in applications. Again, live streaming, if you are a media based application, live streaming of videos, ensuring that the quality and all the other functionalities are seamless, and so on. So these are some of the key places where we see media injection come into play. So now when it comes to testing these applications, right, with these functions, be it, now we've touched upon some of the key features, right? OCR, biometric authentication, and media injection. Now, to ensure that we are testing these applications in real time, clicking images, or actually doing a biometric authentication, to do testing for this of would typically might require actually you procuring an actual device and to be physically near it in order to test it. So, and scaling up this kind of testing would be really expensive. You need to have a range of devices, and that's going to be expensive, time consuming, and ineffective. So I'll be showing how through Pcloudy and on our public cloud platform, how we enable users to test for media injection, for OCR, as well as biometric authentication. And with that, I will just go into the live demo to showcase how it works, how it all works on our platform. So yeah, just to give a quick introduction about our platform, Pcloudy is a unified app testing cloud platform where we provide you a range of solutions for your application testing, right? Be it in terms of test creation, where we have an automation engine where you can create your test scripts in a low-code, no-code fashion. Secondly, we have comprehensive test infrastructure where we have a broad range of devices, be it Android, mobile devices as well as browsers, Android, iOS, Mac and Windows machines, right? Where you can test your mobile web applications, even desktop applications, and so on. And also we have a test management solution where you can track milestones, assign tickets, and track your project plans and so on. So with that introduction, let me get into the specifics of the features that we had discussed, right? So firstly, yeah, let me just show our devices. So this is our public cloud platform, and these are our devices that are real devices that are hosted across in our data centers, right? So before I acquire a device and start my testing, one of the prerequisites is to ensure that all the files that are related to your testing are uploaded. So this is the My App Data section. And we need to ensure that the application that I'm testing and any image, associated image that I need to upload during my testing is uploaded in this section, right? So firstly, let me talk about the image injection and the OCR piece of it, right? So yeah, this is my sample OCR application. I have just clicked on upload file, and you can just browse through your machine and upload the relevant APK or application. And so once you have uploaded your application, there is a small prerequisite or a step that you need to do where you need to click on this icon here and instrument it for image injection. So what this will do is it will add relevant libraries and ensure that the image injection functionality works when you're testing. So it will repackage the application, rename it, and as you can see, underscore image injection.apk. So this will be the file that we'll be using for testing, right? And similar kind of instrumentation will be done for biometric authentication as well. Let me just show that. Yeah. So this is our sample application for biometrics. So again, we need to click here and instrument it for biometric authentication. So once I do this, it will rename it and repackage the application such that it's suitable to test for biometric authentication. So once we ensure that, firstly, my application is uploaded, I have instrumented it for the specific function, right? Be it image injection or biometric authentication. And thirdly, any particular image, the ID or the check or the image of the check, right? For example, the IDs or the passport image, all these are also uploaded into this section. So this is the prerequisite we need to ensure before we begin our testing. So now I will just go ahead and acquire a device. We'll just give it a minute to access. Yeah, so now I have complete access of this device, right? So now I will go ahead and install the sample applications for showcasing each and every one of these features. So firstly, let me just show the image injection part. So note that these applications are just sample applications. They are developed just for showcasing these features. So let me just install the application to test for image injection. Right? So I will choose an image that I want to get injected. So here is just a sample image of a check. And when I click on take picture and the camera opens, right? Instead of the image that, or these devices are in the data center. So clicking an image there, instead of clicking the image or the surroundings there, it has injected this image that I have injected, the sample blank check, and that would be visible for you to see. Right? So this is how image injection works. Now let us see how this plays into the OCR feature. So I will install the sample application for OCR. Yeah, so it has been installed. Now again, I will maybe choose another image. So I will choose an Emirates ID image here, right? And I will go to the camera. And once I click on this image here and click on OK, so instead of the actual image that was clicked, this particular ID would be injected at that point, and it will be able to test and take the image instead. So once I select the required area or my preferred area and I give a crop, as you can see, this image has been converted to the relevant text. So the nationality, the ID number, the name, and the country, and so on, right? Let's just test for a couple of more images maybe. So I have selected a passport image here. We will follow the similar steps. So again, as you can see, the passport image has gotten injected in place of the camera click. Right. So as you can see, it has extracted the text, and you can see the name, nationality, place of birth, and we'll be able to extract this information in the form of text once we do that. So this is how OCR works. Finally, now moving on to biometric authentication, right? I will go ahead and install the sample application for biometrics. Yeah, so again, this is just a sample application to just test for that functionality. So once I click on authenticate here, right, I can go to the Touch ID option here and test for both past as well as failed scenarios. So now if I click on past here, you can see that I've logged in successfully with the biometric. So what is happening here in the back end is it's simulating a valid response and giving it at the prompt, and it will be able to log in successfully. Now, if you want to test for a failed scenario, we can do that as well. Right. So as you can see, it has not moved on to the next page and it has taken it back to the previous page. So you will be able to test for positive as well as the negative or failed scenarios in terms of biometric authentication. And this feature is available both in Android as well as iOS devices. So with that, that is a quick summary of all the three features that we've talked about. Also to add on, you will be able to also and hear the audio output in case for testing media applications and so on. You'll be able to hear the audio output as well. So this summarizes some of the key functionalities and how Pcloudy is enabling users to test for be it OCR, injecting images in the workflow of testing your applications, as well as authenticating your application via biometrics and enabling your testing for that. So with that, I think we can take up the questions now. So if there are any questions on the chat, please leave them on the chat. Right. So one of the questions that I can see is, can we use OCR extraction in automation? So yes, we can. So this is mainly in terms of image injection. That's what we're talking about, right? We can do the same. We can script this in our APM scripts, and we can test for image injection in our APM scripts. So that is possible, yes. So there's another question that I see. Is there a facility to do video injection? Yes. So while this is not mainly in production, this is there you can customize this feature, and this is definitely a doable feature that we can bring in. So these are open source libraries if you're talking about OCR features, right? So one other question that I see is, are these libraries internal or open source libraries? These are open source libraries. So for Touch ID, will it work on automation as well? Yes. So again, for biometrics, right, there are APIs in APM for which it will work in your automation scripts or your APM scripts as well. Any other questions? So is there any feature for bulk injection or uploading multiple images? So again, this might have to become a customized feature. We would need to look into the specifics of the use case, but this is something definitely we can get back to you on. So for iOS apps, do we need to instrument the app as well? Yes, we need to instrument including for iOS applications. Does media files support multilingual or translations, right? So yes, if your application supports different languages and translations, if your application that you're testing supports that, then Pcloudy will be able to enable that. Can we test the performance as to how much time it is taking to authenticate? So we are not much into response time, and so this is more from a functional testing point of view, right? So checking response times for a single action may not be immediately possible, but that is something definitely we can look into. Do we need to change anything on our code for biometrics to work on Pcloudy? So yeah, just including those APIs, right? Which again, definitely we can share back to you. So having that incorporated into your script is what will enable biometric authentication. Can we automate the cropping size? For example, I uploaded an image and want to extract on specific coordinates. Yes, again, this should be possible in the automation scripts by specifying the coordinates. This should be possible, yes. If your respective mobiles are not available in the list, what should I do? So I'm not sure if you're referring to whether the device is busy or the device is not available at all. So for popular models, we do have multiple devices of the same make. But if you're referring to it being busy and if there's only a single model of that device, then, and if you're using the public cloud, so if you're going for private cloud, you will have full access to the devices and no one else would be able to access those devices if you're using private cloud. But if I'm talking from a public cloud standpoint, you would need to wait till the devices are released, and on average we see that it takes about 45 minutes for a device to be available again. So I hope that answers the question. Also, I see another question. Do we need any specific compatible tools to automate all types, be it web, desktop, mobile, and backend APIs? So we don't need any specific tools. So in terms of, if you're referring to our codeless automation, right? We do not require, so there are certain prerequisites where you need to have an agent installed. But apart from that, there are no other tools. These are small executable files, but these are not other tools that are required. Our platform itself would be able to handle all these different types of applications. Do we have devices like tablets and iPads? Yes, we do have those devices, yes. In private, are all devices available? So that would depend on the licensing, and this would have to be a customized plan, right? We can definitely discuss. Please do. We will reach out to you, or you can reach out to us, and we can discuss what type of devices are on priority for you, and fix on a plan, a customized plan in terms of for private cloud.
Well, looks like a lot of questions coming your way, Jessica. I'm sure it'll take all night in order to answer them. But I think we should maybe do one more and then probably conclude, and we can answer those questions offline as well.
Sure, sure.
Maybe another question which you think will be more relevant.
Right. Yeah, again, if this is about a live video in Chrome browser, so right now we are using media injection primarily in the for mobile applications. So for browser, again, we would have to check. It could be a customization that might have to be done, or but currently this is mainly in mobile applications where we are doing media injection. So I think that is about it.
Right. Well, Jessica, you've been a superstar in answering so many questions in such a short time. So kudos to you. And well, we really want to thank you for sharing this valuable information with us. You had used a lot of practical examples and shared the real world scenarios with us. So, and your presentation has covered a lot of practical movements within various industries in this space. So we want to really thank you so much for giving your time and sharing with our audience here. We also want to thank each one of our participants. We also want to thank each one of our participants who've taken the time on a Wednesday evening and been here to listen to us on the webinar. And we're sure that the webinar has sparked a few ideas. It has drawn in a few interest in OCR, media testing, and biometric authentication. So if you do have any questions, please do reach out to us. You can use the chat option on our website, or you can write to us at info@pcloudy.com. That's info@pcloudy.com. And we'll get back to you. We'll converse with you further. So yeah, thank you. Thank you once again for being an engaging audience. This is one of the highest number of questions that we've got at webinars. So we really want to thank you for being such a lovely audience today. Good day to each one of you.
Thank you, everyone.